that phrase that I feel like business owners will say to themselves often, and I want to really debunk the myth of this phrase, which is it is quicker to do it myself. Now, I can't imagine there's anybody listening to this episode that hasn't ever said it. And okay, I know before you're like, I'm going to turn off. I know sometimes it might be in good reason that somebody's had a really clear steps and process, and then they still haven't done it, and it might be quicker to do it myself. But I really, really want to dive into this phrase that is easily said, but it's such a blocker to business owners' growth, and ultimately for me focusing on the fun stuff. And I think like a lot of business owners, like, I get it from the beginning, we've worn all the hats, we've done all the things, and so we back ourselves. Like, we know that if a problem comes up and it lands on our doorstep, because that's where it goes, that we're going to be able to sort it out, even if we don't know how to do it. Like, we're very resourceful, we problem solve, like we always find a way. And so the phrase, like, it's quicker to do it myself, feels initially like it's a time save. And I think it comes from a mindset most often of, I know how, one, I'll back myself. Two, I'm just going to get things done quickly. I know myself, like, I buzz off the energy or the speed of which tasks, of which they get things, tasks get done. And sometimes it feels like, but then, I could do this by the end of the day. But if I get somebody else to do it, I'm going to need to teach them and show them and get the steps and let them try and then let them get it a bit wrong. And so that goes through our mind as well. But what it actually does for me is it holds us back from growth, from focusing on the fun stuff, from not being overwhelmed, from having a happy team. Like, team comes into this massively, which I want to delve into. And so why we think this way is because of mindset, perfectionism, all of the kind of experience we've been through already of running a business. So we know that we can do it. But I was just having a conversation a little earlier on when I interviewed Will Polster, and he said that he has a T-shirt hung up in his office, which is on the T-shirt, it just says, I can do every task, but I shouldn't do the task. I don't think that was the actual phrase. I'm paraphrasing, but it's literally like, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And that's a really, really important phrase to be thinking about every day in our businesses, because so much stuff comes our way. Tasks, decisions, problems, things to do. Well, there is no shortage of those showing up on our doorstep. But the more we gatekeep our decision making, our time, where we spend our time, the things that we fill our time with, like the high level, the high strategy, the goal moving things, like that's where all the focusing on the fun stuff comes from. And so this thing of, it's just quicker to do it myself, for me, is a really short sentence which can deliver so much business stalling stuff. And I want to really dig into like how we change it and what actually every business owner should be doing. And I'm talking about this topic as well on the podcast because it's one that comes from complete personal experience as well. Although my business is a virtual PA business and we are here to take tasks off business owners, get them delegating to us, there are days when I will try to hand over a task or I'm not even going to do it I'm not even going to go that step. I'm just going to think, I'm just going to do it myself. But it's on those days when I am not, like when I'm hectic, when I'm wrapped up in lots of things happening and I'm not thinking about what's most important to my time and to the progress of the business. And I think that often it can come from a lack of business owners' trust in the team around them. But I don't think that's necessarily on the team. It's about the business owners' time and energy spent in training and upskilling their team. And there is a counter to it's quicker to do it myself, which I really wanted to talk about today, which I believe that true mastery. So I know that people talk about mastery of a skill or a habit, and it's about repeating the skill or repeating the thing like every day, like spending an hour, like the number of hours you can get into something is true mastery. I believe that true mastery as a business owner is not just thinking, I'm brilliant, I'm great, I can do all these things. True mastery is actually spending time that for someone in your team, it could be like employed, outsourced, whatever your team looks like that's supporting you. True mastery is teaching and leading them to be able to do the thing that otherwise you would have done quickly, to do the thing as well as you or better than you. Like for me, true mastery is getting the team around you so good at the things they love doing or the things that they're going to take from you. There is no badge or certificate you're going to get by saying, do you know what, I did that and I did all of these things. I worked till 9 o'clock, I worked till 3 o'clock in the morning, but I did them all. Like, there is nobody that's coming to give you the big pat on the back with that. Like, it's just on you. It's just that chip on the shoulder that lots of us will have because we're like, but I can do it. So today's episode is like just about how we can do it, but we shouldn't do it. And there are, to be fair, I think probably 80% of things in business you shouldn't be doing. And there should be a daily reflection on what one thing can I hand off today. And so we wear like this superhero cape of, well, I've got this far, I'll keep on going, it's me. It's like, but you can't, for me, most business owners can't get to where they want to go without the support of whether it's employed team members, virtual team members, suppliers, like they're just the people in the ecosystem of your business. And so the next time when we think about, it's just quicker to do it myself, I want you to think about these steps instead. So when you do delegate things, obviously the number one is that you don't become the bottleneck in your business. And nearly almost all business owners that I speak to that are customers, of my PA, or they want to learn how to delegate more. They want to learn how to get a team around them. Like, problem number one is that they are a bottleneck in their business because, all decisions have to be made by them. Problems or things need to be solved by them. And then just tasks that actually somebody else could be doing, which they've not gotten around to yet, or, they're pushing back or they don't have time, is a bottleneck as well. And so not only are we bottlenecking ourselves, if in any way, shape or form you have a team around you, again, it doesn't matter whether they're on the payroll, whether it's part-time, self-employed, virtual, whatever it is, I believe that constantly having a demeanor of, don't worry, I'll just do that. I'll just do it myself. You're really cheating yourself and your business in terms of empowering your team. And this is completely also, all of my podcasts, all of the stories that I tell are from personal experience. And I have totally been there when you assume so much of a position of things won't go right unless I do them. It completely disempowers your team. They feel like they don't really have any decision making, any creative control, any ability to make a real impact in the business. And most people that come to work for you or are working alongside you are there for a reason, and everybody wants to feel like they're making an impact, like they're doing a good job. And when the superhero business owner just comes in and saves the day and goes, no, don't worry, I'm taking that back, I'll take it off you. The real issue that it has with morale, with people's ability to actually go and do good stuff. Like, every time we go, it's quicker to do it myself. It will chip away a tiny bit at the person that you've taken it from, or that you've gone, it doesn't matter, just leave it, I'll do it myself. Like, it chips away at their ability to know if they're doing a good job. And so a really masterful business owner that wants to lead a business that has good leadership, that has good team morale, that has a good culture of being able to try and fail will not think about it's quicker to do it myself, but they will think about how can I, so one, who is the best person to do this task that I'm doing? Just because you shouldn't be doing it doesn't mean that everybody in the business is well suited to do it. So number one, we need to think about who is the right person to do that in your business, like the right skill set. They want to do it, they love to do it. And we need to, if we've chosen to play this game of running and owning a business. And what we really need to do is take this seriously and go, but actually, if we're going to do that, then with that comes leadership and coaching and mentoring and helping our people be better at it than us. So when whoever that is that we're going to go, actually, I'm not going to do this again. So a really good example for me is this podcast. So I started this podcast and I started off with we should do this then, we should do this like that. And it was quickly becoming only Emma knows the next bit, until I fully had the conversation with my PA Bex to go, actually, sorry, do you, like, I would love you to manage this podcast. Do you want to do it? Yes, I do. That would be great. Like, actually having the conversation is a really good step to start. And then us between us going, okay, so what does this look like? Mapping out the steps. And this is not about how to create a process or how to best delegate. This is about the mindset change of, I know that there are things in this podcast process and creation that I might do a little bit differently, but that doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the end result, is getting this podcast out rhythmically, on time, with everything created, with everybody updated, with all of the things done, not me feeling great because I've done this part and I've also got this out. And I also came up with this new idea, which was a new idea, but probably not necessary, if you know what I mean. What was most important was the rhythm of Bex being able to get this out with all of the suppliers that are involved, and then being able to really own the process. And I think this is the big switch for a lot of business owners. A lot of business owners will, peer over the shoulder a little bit. They might micromanage the member of the team. They will, as soon as the littlest thing goes wrong, it's like, oh, I'll just take it back. And that is not what being a good leader of your business is. And so just with this podcast example, me and Bex are still actively working on now what best practice looks like for all the steps that need to happen. And then we'll think of something new and go, oh, actually, well, we should do this and add this in. And it's an ongoing process between us. Because if I went as soon as maybe something hadn't been uploaded to a file when I went to look for it, if I went, oh, do you know what, you're just not doing this right at all, I'm just going to take it back, then, okay, I might have in a moment of I was right all along, but actually the most important thing is protecting your time as the business owner, having your team members feel totally like energized and in charge of what they're doing and having that ownership over it. So I honestly think like a lot of business owners will just do a knee-jerk reaction to, it's quicker if I do it myself. So today, if you just listen to this episode and just taking a moment to go, do I do that? Yes, I do. And actually just thinking about that differently when that situation comes up in the business. So you might say that's all well and good, Emma, but how do I actually start doing this rather than, because I've got a lot of things I should delegate. So I've got four steps that I will follow every day, every week, to make sure that this is happening rhythmically, because Rome wasn't built in a day, and I love the marginal gains of handing over one thing bit by bit. So my step one is, if you don't delegate to anybody right now, step one would definitely be to identify all of the tasks that you've got that you either don't enjoy, don't want to do, don't really know how to do, or you would just love. It doesn't have to be all of those things. It would just be you would love somebody else to pick this up because it's a bit of a drain. It's not really your unique ability. Make a list of the tasks that you have. Number two would be to develop a delegation routine. And I remember doing a MyTV, which was my previous video series prior to the podcast. And I did a MyTV that was back in maybe 2019. And our business had started to grow quite a bit in 2019. And the episode was about how at the beginning of the year, we'd started with something like 49 processes. And at the end of the year, we had we had more than 52 more. But I know that from things I was doing, we had created 52 processes of things that I had offloaded to different members of my team. And so that one a week, whilst it felt, or it can sometimes feel slow, I think is a really good rhythm to get into. Whether you create a task in your Monday or Trello board, whether you set yourself a reminder on the phone, whether you have a day in the week where it's more of a thinking time, creative time, a really great question to ask yourself is, what's one thing that I've done this week that I could actually delegate? And then just spend 20 minutes on that in terms of who's going to do it and how I'm going to teach them to do it. And in terms of offloading that, honestly, the simplest way for me is to either voice note what you do if the task lends itself to that. Using a piece of video like Loom. Loom has the most amazing AI function now. Not only does it record the video, which is great to watch because somebody can follow along, but Loom has an AI function now whereby when you've done the video, it will immediately pull out from the transcription the process and create an SOP, like a standing operating procedure underneath for you, as like how it can't be any simpler to delegate in this day and age. Like literally you just need to record what you're doing and it will pull it out, and you might then want to just tweak it or add a few things in, but it does all of the heavy lifting for you. So a voice note, a video, please honestly check out Loom and the AI underneath it, or just a very simple bullet point checklist. And I think the key thing here is that you don't need to give a task with every single detail, all the I's dotted, all the T's crossed. For me, you need to give 80% of like, just get it out of the head, out of your head. And as a business owner, as a leader, like this podcast is for business owners that really want to enjoy their business, grow it into a business they love, they're proud of, that gives them everything they want. And part of that is actually going, but I need to be a good leader. And so when we've got the steps, step 3 has to be that you need to give patience, grace, and some coaching or mentoring as to, well, this is how I do it. Over to you now. Have the conversation of like, this is going to be you're managing this process. So we're in a transition period, but I want this to be your responsibility. So ask me all the questions you need. If there's things that might quite make sense, giving them that ownership of this is coming your way will make them understand that, okay, I can't just say yes. I can't just follow the steps. I need to understand the process, why it happens and how it happens. And I think that step number 4 has to be that you absolutely need to say to anybody that's supporting you. And, when you work with someone for a long time, you'll need to say this initially, not after every single task that you delegate. But step number 4 will be, okay, well, you've got the steps, you're going to test it through, try it through. But I am fully here for your ideas and suggestions as well, because most often in my experience, even though I might have said, it's quicker to do it myself, what happens is when you pass a task to somebody else and you give them the right tools and you explain what good looks like and why we do it like this, they often exceed expectations. Honestly, though business owners often like to just moan about staff just because that's the thing business owners moan about, apparently, most often staff members, if you've hired well, they will exceed your expectations. They want to do well. They want to do it better than you. They want to take ownership of it. They want to add their spin on it. But I think just being really clear about you're here to own this. I'm ready for you to put your spin on it. And the really final part of this, which is most important, is that if a team member fails, it's absolutely not an opportunity to tell someone off about this or say to them, oh, well, it didn't work, I'm taking it back, it's quicker to do it myself. It's not about that. It's like, okay, well, that didn't go well. What did you not understand, or what did you not know, or what had I not told you to do it? Because if all of those questions are answered, then that leads the way to a conversation around, okay, well, if we knew all these things, did you just not want to do it, or did you not, it leads you into a conversation there. But if we actually ask the questions of what didn't you, is there something that you didn't understand, or what didn't you know, or what else can I help you with? And just, you do need to repeat this cycle, because people aren't robots yet, I guess. And just repeating that cycle of letting people fail and try. And as long as you see that failure doesn't happen on the same thing again, on that, it's, okay, we've solved that bit. Oh, this bit needs solving now. And that cycle has to happen with every team member. And what happens is, although it might feel like a bit of time and energy for you at first, people feel way more empowered, way more invested to support you and help you. And ultimately, for me, the team around you and how invested they are and how much they can help you get out of your own way is one of the key methods to focusing on the fun stuff in your business. If you have team members who for any reason would feel nervous about actually saying what they think, or actually saying, I've had this idea, I think it's better if we do it like this way, or pushing back to say, oh, actually, Emma, I don't think that's a good way to do it. Like, if you don't allow that kind of conversation in your business, you're only cheating yourself. And so that's why I just feel like this phrase, it gets said so much. I hear so many of my friends who are business owners say it. I hear clients that I talk to say it, oh, it's just quicker to do it myself. but it's not. What's actually quicker is to put a little bit of time in at the beginning, which is what ultimately we're trying to avoid. But what happens is we just end up costing ourselves way more time overall. That little bit of time at the beginning will, like task by task, team member by team member, leverage you into a business that you are free to fully spend on the things that you really love doing. So maybe I'll do more of these episodes of debunking phrases and myths because, yeah, quicker to do it myself, it is poor man's thinking. I do think it's it's just to kind of cut my nose off to spite my face. Not sure how many more of these phrases I can come out with in one episode. But yeah, I hope today's episode was helpful, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.